We previously used the Dynomation engine simulation software to come up with the parts needed to make our 65 Chevelle's 350 churn out just over 400 horsepower. Today, we're actually going to be putting that engine together. We started by yanking the 350 out of the original 65's body. The previous owner claimed it was a replacement engine with less than 10,000 miles on it.
This thing always had a trans leak. I think I found out why. Nice.
So we cleaned it off and took a look inside. We discovered that the bearings and cylinder walls all look new and that this truly is a fairly new engine. It has 4-bolt main caps, which is common to replacement truck engines, but the heads were cast iron low compression junkers that were not performance oriented in any way, with poorly cast ports and small valves. The next step was a thorough degreasing and a fresh coat of poppy red paint, which is actually Chevy orange. Once we finished the cleanup and the cosmetics, the short block looked new again. So our plan is to add some high performance parts from Comp Cams and Holley and Weiand and MSD to wake this thing up and give it a little more power. And what we ended up with is a Comp Cams kit, and it comes with everything you see here basically. Valve springs, new set of lifters, valve retainers and locks and seals, of course the new camshaft, and a timing set. This is a double roller timing chain. And we're going to top all of this off with a set of Holley cylinder heads and a Weiand intake manifold. So we're going to make this thing breathe a lot easier. The cam is going to have a little rumble, but not like Comp's new thumper cams. Those are the ones that wake the neighbors. The cam that we chose is actually an Xtreme Energy camshaft. It's a flat tappet hydraulic, and according to the cam card, we're looking at a 477 lift on the intake, 480 on the exhaust side. This is part number 268H, which means the duration 268 degrees. Measured at 50, it's 224 and 231. Basically translates to a higher lift camshaft than stock, with a little more duration. This one isn't going to be super lopey, but it's going to be nice and crisp, and you're going to tell that it's got an aftermarket cam in it, but it's not going to be something that shakes the car a whole lot, because that's not what this particular car was all about. Other things you're going to need include the right tools and proper lubrication, especially for startup. We've got a variety of stuff here. This is some Royal Purple synthetic engine oil. And synthetic engine oil isn't recommended for break-in on a new engine, but this engine is not new, so we think it's going to be okay. We put some in our modified vintage oil can here, new sticker. And some Royal Purple Max Tough Assembly Lube. This will help the camshaft go in smoothly without damaging the bearings. A little Royal Purple Max Film, just in case we need to spray some bolts or something. And then these two are pretty interesting. This is a Comp Cams product called Valve Train Assembly Spray. This is an aerosol spray that we're going to spray on the rocker arms and on the upper end of the valve train, and it is very, very slippery. You're pre-warned. Comp sells an additive for engines with flat tappet cams, and you can read on the Comp Cams website why you want this stuff. Today's oil is formulated with less ZDDP, which is an additive that helps lubrication. It's called zinc dioxyl dicarbonate, and this stuff will help you not flatten out your new camshaft, because that was happening once they reformulated the oil. So this is a good thing to have too. We set the #1 piston to top dead center and installed a piston stop to make sure the crank didn't rotate. Next, it was time to install the new lower timing gear, and to make this easy, we heated it in our shop powder coating oven, and it slipped right on. Oh, little heat makes the medicine go down. The next process was to install the camshaft, and we temporarily installed the cam gear to use as a handle. Then we lubed up the cam and carefully slipped it into the hole. Lube up one bank of lobes at a time to keep the mess down and to ensure that they're properly coated. We used Royal Purple Max Tough assembly fluid on this cam. Once the cam was installed, we removed the gear and looped the new timing chain over the gear, and then installed the cam gear and chain, making sure the two dots lined up on the cam and the crank gears. Then they were coated with thread locker and torqued to spec. Next, it was time to install the new Holley aluminum heads. We wiped the block clean and installed the new head gaskets, then placed the head in position.
Swing and a miss.
You gotta put them on right side up. That's the key to this whole operation.
The head bolts were coated with silicone sealer and threaded in place. These heads feature a 20-degree valve angle, Pro-E designed ports, CNC machining, 184cc intake runner volume, 68cc chamber volume, 2.02-inch intake valves, 1.6 exhaust valves, screw-in ARP rocker studs, and pushrod guide plates. Although the Holley heads come with valve springs installed, the Comp Cams kit contains springs to match the cam, so we swapped in the Comp springs. To do this, we used a valve spring compressor we got from Summit Racing for that task. We filled the combustion chamber with compressed air so that the valve didn't drop while we changed the springs. Then we installed new valve locks and moved to the other head. When all the valve springs were swapped and the heads were torqued, we oiled up the new Comp lifters and dropped them into their bores. Next came the installation of the rocker arms and push rods. Scott dropped the push rods in their holes and sprayed the top of the heads with the Comp aerosol valve train lubricant. It's got kind of a gel consistency, so it stays right where you spray it. Then he installed the rocker arms and set the preload on each. Back on top, Scott attached the intake gaskets to the heads and scribed a light guideline to help him with the silicone sealer he was going to apply next. A bead of silicone keeps the water passages from leaking and prevents vacuum leaks. We've had good success with using only silicone on the ends of the manifold rather than gaskets. Then the Weiand Action Plus intake manifold was dropped in place and torqued, and the valve covers were installed. Next came the timing cover and the oil pan. So at this point, it's pretty much all buttoned up. We reinstalled our MSD Pro-Billet distributor. We just loosely stabbed it in. I'm not going to even claim that it's close to being timed. And then we reinstalled our Holley Street Avenger 670 carburetor that we've had, and the Holley valve covers and our thermostat housing, and we hung a set of Flowtech headers on the engine just to kind of see how they fit. They fit very nice. It's easy to do the spark plugs. We threw some NGK plugs in and ran the MSD wires. And of course, you know, the crowning achievement for tonight anyway is the nice chrome air cleaner, which I got thumbprints on. So for us, it's definitely not ready to run at this moment because, you know, there's still a few things to do, like all the front accessories, which are going to be a vintage air front runner system, and that'll be the next phase of building this engine. And when we put it in the car, we'll actually get it timed out and running well. So that was kind of our Saturday afternoon project on the 65. We think it looks pretty good.